Hey there. As you know, I make hundreds of videos, and I thought I'd do a couple of book reviews since I'm kind of getting back into reading recently. So, two books that I wanted to start with. One is The Headless Roommate, which was my favorite book in junior high school. It is a compilation of campfire tales, basically. You got the man with the hook arm and the escaped mental patient and all that kind of stuff. All those good classic stories. But today, my friends, I'm going to be talking about the other book that I just read. It is A Bloody Halloween by James W Pressley. Now, I really wanted to do a book review, so I was going to just read through this really quick. Not skim it, but read through it really quick. Well, halfway into chapter 1, I slowed my reading down because I was very interested in the story. It piqued my interest. It drew me in. What I would like to say about this book is a few things. One, it's very well written by James. He's a great storyteller. I mean, a great storyteller. I was reading this book and it drew me in. It literally drew me in. I felt like I was there. His attention to detail, the way the door looked or it sounded or just all the little things really gave you perspective and it put you there with these kids. So James is a great storyteller. Another thing I really liked about this book, to me, it had a Stephen King feel to it. It really did. The group of kids trying to figure out what and or who, and, being tormented at the same time. So it had a real feel of, any of those Stand By Me, Stranger Things, that kind of group of kids. I thought the characters were done really well. I liked the fact that he put the timeline in the 90s. Stranger Things is in the 80s, and a lot of things now that are doing timeline type stuff like that are doing the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, and further back. But not a lot of people have done a bunch on the 90s, which I thought was refreshing. Would I recommend this book? I would quite highly, to be honest with you. James W. Pressley. You can buy this. I think it's $8 or $10 online. Just look up author James W. Pressley. A Bloody Halloween. He has several other books, but this is the one that I started with because, I like spooky stuff. And I was not disappointed. The characters, again, James was such a good storyteller. It pulled me into the story. I was generally going to just read through it fast so I could do my review. I found myself, I'll do a review later. I want to read this book first. It piqued my interest, and I thoroughly enjoyed this book. Again, it has a Stephen King feel to it. And for me, that's always been one of my favorite things. When you get like a group of friends together, and they're on their bikes or whatever, and they're out to solve some kind of mystery, a whodunit, who's the killer, is it an alien, is it, whatever. So it got that real vibe with me. I felt like I was reading an earlier Stephen King story of some sort. I especially, again, I like his storytelling techniques. I think James is a great storyteller. And this is a fun little book. I would say this is from young adult through adult. This is the kind of book I wished was in my junior high school or high school library. That's where I found The Headless Roommate. It was in my junior high school library, and I loved it. That was the first time in my life I was ever reading a book, and the whole world disappeared, and I got tunnel vision, and I was all by myself. And just for a moment, and looked around, okay, it was weird. It was like a Freddy Krueger type thing. It took me somewhere else. But this book really took me somewhere else as well. It took me back to the 90s. There's lots of little fun Easter eggs. And the neighbor, Miss Curtis. Anyway, read this book. If you like reading books, or if you have kids that like reading books, and if you like spooky stuff, I highly recommend this. Again, from young adult to adult. And A Bloody Halloween would make a great read for the upcoming Halloween. So, my friends, this here is James W. Pressley, and this is his book, A Bloody Halloween by James W. Pressley. There's his name one more time for spelling purposes. I recommend you look this book up, and I recommend that you buy it. It is a lot of fun. And like I said, it's thin enough that you could read it in a day if you wanted to sit down and just go hardcore. Or you could do what I do and read a couple chapters a day. Spread it out over a week. Do enjoy the book. However you read, that's up to you. But I really, really recommend this. And if you have kids that like to read and like spooky stuff, ghost stories and murder mysteries and that kind of thing, this would be a great book for them. And Halloween's coming up, you know. A lot of, in my family, of course, we give each other, candy on Halloween and Easter. Well, it started back in Easter, where we would start giving them something else besides candy. And you might give them a little candy, but beside the candy, we like to give them something. And something like a book would be really cool for Halloween. Like I said, it's like $8 or $10. It's cheap, and it ships right to your door. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I read A Bloody Halloween by James W. Pressley, and I was really impressed. Really impressed. I liked this book. I had a lot of fun the whole read through. I was having fun. Do I have anything negative to say about the book? Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, the only negative thing I could find really was there were a couple typos. Not a misspelled word, but just typos. So that's like the only thing I could find wrong with this book at all. It is great. And that was like in one chapter there was a couple of typos, but nothing I couldn't read through. This book is fantastic. Anyway, if you like books, you like fun, spooky, you're into horror, if you grew up like I did with Scooby-Doo and Hardy Boys Mysteries and, this and that, it's a good whodunit. It's a Stephen King-like book. It's got the group of kids. The whole time you're wondering who this character is. And there's lots of interesting things and great details. The storytelling, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I felt like I could have been watching a movie. I mean, it was good. So that's all I wanted to say about my first book review of A Bloody Halloween by James W. Pressley. All right. So there it is. I give this a 9 out of 10. No lie. So next up, I'll be doing The Headless Roommate. But as for now, go get yourself a copy of A Bloody Halloween by James W. Pressley and read it. It's fun. I would guarantee you'll enjoy it, but I don't know you, so I can't guarantee it. But I can tell you that I loved it. And it was a really fun book by a great storyteller. So, Amazon, I think, anywhere. You can search the internet one last time for James W. Pressley. And look up A Bloody Halloween. That's the one I'm recommending. Again, he has several other books, but the particular one that I read that I'm speaking about today is A Bloody Halloween. Anyway, have fun, kids. Enjoy your reading, and I hope you get a chance to pick up a copy of this and read it. It's a lot of fun. Grab a copy for your teenage kid that likes spooky mysteries and such. Would be a lot of fun. So anyway, you guys have a good day and read on.